use data analysis expression to solve business problems. So there's some business problems that we might need to solve using data analysis expression. Now, let me just quickly give us a typical example of such. Now, for example, so just jump into the the presentation immediately. Okay, for instance, let's say we have a data, we have a table that we've connected, we brought in our data into Power BI, and in our table, we have the inventory data. Let me go to the table view. We have a table that is talking about the inventory. That's what in the inventory what we have in store. So we have our store ID, the store where the inventory is coming from, and the product is that we have in the inventory, and also the store we have the stock at hand. So these are the quantities that we have at hand. And we also have another table which is talking about the products. So the products table houses all the information about the product. So we have the product information, the ID, the name of the product, the category that each product belongs to, the cost of producing that product, and as well the selling price of the product. Um, okay, so that's what we have on the product table. Then the next one, which is the sales table, which is a file facts table that contains all the transaction that takes place in the business. So we have the sales ID, that's the transaction ID, the store that the date of the transaction, the store that this transaction is taking place, and we have the product that they are purchasing and the unit, the quantity that is being purchased. Okay, so the next table is we then have the store information. So the store table that houses the what, the information about the store. So here now we can see that we have the store ID, the name of the store, the city of the store, the location. So what kind of location is it? Is it residential, commercial, downtown, or in the airport? And the store opening date. So from here that we can see we have up to how many stores? For 50 different stores. Now, from the information that we have here, so let's not say I want to show a report. I want a report that says we would like to get want to see which store is selling the most in terms of quantity, which store is selling the most. I can start to bring in this visual by charts. So to get that information, all I need to do is go to the store, get information from the store, and I say, okay, let me use the store location, right? And on the sales, from sales, you can get the quantity of product that is being sold in the different location that we have. Now, from here, we can see that what downtown has the highest quantity of products sold. But then we have some, so this is very easy to get. But there are some questions, there are some critical questions that they might want to ask, but then we might not be able to provide answers to it by merely what clicking and clicking and clicking this the fields that we have in the data. For example, if someone say, okay, we want to know what is the total revenue generated from these different stores that we have here. What is the total revenue generated by the different stores? Now, looking at this data here, we can find out that from the transactions alone, we only have information about the product that they are buying and also the quantity, which is the unit price, the unit product that each of these transactions is buying. But what is the total amount being paid on each transaction? We do not have that information, which that is the revenue that we are looking for. So how do we even get this information? So if you take a look at my product table, we find out that what we have the selling price of each product on the product table. So on the product table, we have the product itself, the category it belongs to, and the cost price, and also the selling price. So here we only have the selling price of each product. But what will happen if I'm buying about 7 pieces, 20 pieces of those products? How will I be able to get that the revenue that should be paid for that transaction? Do I have anybody who can give us that information in the chat? Let's make it interactive. Any idea of how we can compute that information? Okay, so me looking at this now, find out that we cannot easily. So if I come here and say, okay, let me let me duplicate this and say, okay, by location, I need the revenue. So all I can just get here on the product table is just the selling price, which is the product price, the price of each product. You can see this. So we can get the revenue that is generated across the different location. So we need to do some calculation. So this calculation that we need to do, which is what we need to multiply the price of each product. So if I come to the sales now, the price of the product that they are buying right now, this person buying products with the ID of 3 and is buying one quantity. So I need to say, okay, the quantity of this now multiply by the price that we are selling product 3. So which is, if I go to the product table now, product 3, the ID is 3 here. Okay, this is name, the category, and the cost, and this is the selling price, which is 3.99. So by that, I should get 3.99. If you are selling, if we are buying 100 pieces, should multiply by the 100, 3.9 and multiply by the 100. So these calculations are what we need for us to compute the total revenue. And also, if you ask questions like how do we get? In fact, we have some questions documented here. When you ask, look at the critical questions that we're actually going to be looking at here. So here is what is the the total sales and profit by month. So we would like to know what's the sales and what is the profit by month. So when looking at the data that we have here, we cannot get this information at once. We need to do some calculation, and this is where our DAX comes in. This is where our DAX comes in. So we use the data analysis expression to write some calculation in Power BI. Now, when we talk about data analysis, why do we even need analysis? That's what I just explained. So the reason why we need it is for us to do some calculation that are not readily available in your data. Now, for DAX, we can use DAX to create different things. We can use it for different purposes. So with DAX, we can create a table. We can create a table with DAX. So it means we can write a DAX that can help us to create a table in Power BI. Now, for instance, let me go back to this. So with DAX, in fact, we have a new interface which is the DAX query. I can write a query that will give me the table. Here, let's say I want to even create a table. From the data I currently have, we have connected all the data and the likes, but then I would like to create a table because I would like to do a time intelligence calculation. So I will need to have a calendar table. So it's one of the tables that we can create with DAX. So to create a table, we go to the modeling view, and we say new table. We can see this new table. The new table. So which is what we are going to pick. So new table. So I click that. So it's going to help me to So it's asking me to write my DAX measure to create the table. Here I want to say I want to create my calendar table. Right? And in my calendar table, I have a lot of columns that I would like to create in that table. So here I'm going to say add columns. Yes, so first thing is I need you to go into this table and look for my date. You need to create a date for us first. So I'm going to say use a calendar auto. create an automatic date for me. That's the table that I want to create. Then once you create that, then I need other columns as well. So what's the first column I will need? I will need a column for months. So name of the column, I put it in months, close the quotes. Now, how do I intend to get months from this table? So I'm going to use a function that's called the format function. What am I formatting? I want to format our dates, right? To give me the months in text. I think I prefer it in 3Ms, close brackets. Yes, I need another column in that table as well. What other columns do I want? I want the column for the month number. Month number. Again, to get that, I'm just going to use the month function and inside my dates. My dates now, I can get the month column. Which other column? Let me just add 2 more columns to this. Then we'll see the result of the table that I'm creating. So let me say I need year, a column that will show me all the years that we have in our data. And can say, let me use the format as well. Dates. Yes, in what format do I want the year? I want it as what? Y. 4 Y's, close brackets. That's another column. So I've added how many columns? 1, which is the first calendar column, which will give us date. The month, 2, month number. We have the year. Okay, so let me just add one more. And we'll call it the days of the week. Days of the week. So what day of the week does each of these fall? So I'm going to use the format again. Create table. Go to the date column and give me the day. Day is in what? D, using the D. Love D. Yep. Okay, so let me just stop it here. For now, for the calendar, I'll run this query. Because I said what? Okay. Oh, sorry. When creating this, I think I mistakenly saying what the error is. The expression refers to multiple columns. Multiple columns cannot be converted to a scalar value. So I think I made a mistake clicking on the measure. So I'm going to cut this. What I actually want is a table. Go back to the model view. And new table. Sorry. Yes, I think I clicked on the wrong one actually. Yeah, new table. So I'm just going to paste what we've written so far there and hit on enter. Hit on enter. Now, if I check this now, then I will see that what this has created a table for me. So I've written a DAX measure that I've created a table. And let me see what we have inside that table. On the calendar table, yes, I have the dates, the months. You can see the month has been abbreviated. I prefer that. January to December. Then the month number, which is what month of the year is each of these. So you can see 3 for March, 4 for April, 1 for January till the end. Then which year? These are the years and these are the days of the week. So you can also proceed to add quarter, week, number, and the likes that you want in this report. Yup. Okay, let me just change this data type. It's ordinary dates. So that's how you can create a table. Same thing if I have, if I can also create a table using another thing. Okay, for example, if I come to my sales here, my sales table, and looking at it, I can see the units sold here. Well, in this, I want to create a table that only, let me see the units sold. Can see people purchase from 1 up to 30 pieces. That's the maximum that we have, right? So in this case, I want a situation whereby I only want a table that only what contains any sales above 20. And anytime you purchase anything above 20 pieces. So we can also write an additional table. that we can create a table using the DAX that will give us that. So it's going to give us a subset of this whole table. Okay, so let me try that. I come here under the modeling tab and say new table again. New table. Now let me say sales quantity. So sales quantity above 20. Yeah. Right. So there are different ways by which you can create a table. So I'm going to use another one using the filter function. So because I have a table and I would like to extract a subset of that table. Now, the first argument is asking for a table. Which table do I even want to use? I want to use what? The sales table, the sales, and an expression. These are the two arguments that we have on the filter function. Say expression. The expression is that my expression now is what condition do you want to use in creating this table? So the condition that this table must have is that what the quantity must be greater than 20. Any sales quantity that is below 20, I do not want it. So I'm going to say what where the unit sold is greater than 20. So go there and create such a table for me. Create such table for me. So if I come here on the table, collapse all this, then we should have a new table that will bear what you can see sales quantity above 20. Now in this, see everything that we need. In fact, we have how many rows? We only have 14 rows of data in the table. So this is how we create, and we have different functions that we can use in creating tables. So as we proceed, we also look at some others, right? Now, another thing is in DAX, you can use it to create a column. For instance, in this data, the first analysis we were asked to do is what? Is to find the total sales, and also the total profit by the different what by the by month, right? I'd like to do that by month. So first thing is we have our month already. So if I go to the model view, I have all my tables, including all the tables I just created. You can see sales above 20 and also the calendar table. Let me even connect my calendar to my sales table, right? So here we have the month information. Again, my calendar as well. Let me just make it as what I would like to make it as the what do we call it? So mark it as date table. My calendar, then so mark it as date table. Come here and select it. All right. Okay. Now on sales, we need our total revenue, right? So how do we get the revenue? Like we said earlier on, revenue can be gotten by you multiplying the quantity purchased from the sales table with the price of that particular product, which is coming from the product table, right? So we need to do that. So I click on. So I want to write a column that will tell me what exactly is the total amount, the total revenue per transaction, right? I'm going to say new column. So we want to use the DAX to create a column that will give us that information, right? So here now, I'll call it what? Say total sales, or say okay, let me just call it okay, let me call it total sales. That's the name. So in my total sales, I need to multiply my units sold. So let me say units sold, then multiply it by the product. So price from the products. So I'm going to say products. Unfortunately, I can't see what the product price is. It's not bringing it as a suggestion. And this is because the price is coming from another table. Quantity, which is units sold, is coming from a table, and the price of each product is coming from another table. So anytime you find yourself in such a situation where you are picking from different tables, you're picking information from different tables, right? It will not be from the suggestion will not bring it, but there's a function that we can use to bring in this particular column, because we have already created relationship across our tables. So all the tables are connected together, so we can leverage on the relationship that we've created. So by saying what? Related, using the related function. So related function will help you to go and forth. It means what? You now want to use the relationship that you have with other table to extract information from them. So what table now? So using the related, I'm going to say on the product table, I need the product price. I need the product price. Then you close the bracket. So this is when you can now use your what? You can now use columns from other table to calculate to do your calculation. So again, click on this, then you get the result. So now we can see the result for the different transactions that we have there. If I go to those that purchase more than one, let me go to this. I have about 12, and you see what they purchase and the price. What's this? Okay, let me see 12, 13, and 10. These three. Then I click on OK. Then you see how much we are charging each of these people. Okay, clear filter. Now, remember, we also need to get the profits, right? So for us to get the profits, we even need to know what is the total cost of these products. But then before we go there, I would like to use another look at the other way of trying of creating what other ways of using DAX of creating DAX in Power BI. Now with calculated column that we just created right now. So one of the challenge with it is that with calculated column, it consumes space in your data. So it is stored in your system memory, and it consumes space. So it calculates for all of them one after the other. Right? And so as this table continues growing, right now we have how many rows in this table? I have 408,417 rows of data. So it means as this table continue growing, then the memory that this will take from your data will also will grow. But instead of you doing this, we can also use that to write a measure. We can use that to write a measure, and measure makes it very easy. Measure just stores in the memory, but without consuming a lot of space, just little space, and it is only seen when you call it in your calculation. When you call it in your visual, that is when you can see it. Unlike the column that takes in space, anytime you run the you query or you refresh your report, it consumes space. But with measure is just there. It's only when you now call it in your visualization that measures can now be seen. So we can also use DAX to write a measure. So instead of writing a calculated column, I would prefer to write a measure for our sales. And let's see. Okay, before we even do that, let me see what is my total sales. I'm bringing the card visual, and from the total sales I just created, bring it in, and I can see that my total sales is 6.9 million. Right now, let me now also write the same measure that can do the same thing, and let's see if we are still going to arrive at the same answer. So here, this time around, so we use new measure. We go to the modeling tab. They use new measure. New measure. And from this measure now, because we want this revenue, we want the sales to be calculated on a row level, row after row for each transaction. So I'm going to call this one sales now. Remember what I put in the column is total sales. But let me call this one sales instead of total sales. Right? So because we want to calculate it on a row level, so we are going to use what we call the iterator, the iterative function in Power BI. So I'm going to say what? Use it. The iterative functions are the sum x, the count x, the average x, the mean x, and so on like that. So those have x, x, x in them. So what they do is what they have the capacity to go on the on the row by row level. So now let me use the sum x to do it. Right? So the same thing if I want to calculate the average of each transaction, so I can use what? The average x on the row by row level. Right? Now, sum x is asking for a table. So for that table, I need to go into the sales table, because that's what I'm doing. On the sales table, I want to calculate the total transaction revenue for each transaction, right? So what I did earlier on is what I'm going to do here and say what? Units sold now multiply by what? By product price. The same thing, product price is not going to come up for us. So what do? We use the related function to extract the product price. So product price. Now close the brackets twice, then hit on enter. Okay. Then we can see our measure has been created. And unlike a calculated column, measures can stay anywhere in your table, but calculated columns stay in the physical table and they can be seen physically. Now let's also see if we are now going to arrive at the same answer by what? Using the measure and the column. So new card, and I'm going to bring my sales into this. Now can you see? So using the measure and using the calculated column, we arrive at the same answer. We arrive at the same answer. So instead of me using the column that will occupy space and eat up memory space in my system, I would rather what? Use the column. Use the measure rather. I use the measure, but then you see what? So as to save me space. Okay. Now remember, we want to calculate the profit. So let me even delete this. What we have here, possibly there. So now I have, and instead of using this card, I would like to use the what? The new card visual. So this is the sales, right? Now, also to get the profit, I need to be able to calculate the total what? The total cost of sales. So I'm going to write a measure that will help me to calculate that as well. And that is multiplying your units sold by the cost of the what? So let me say cost of goods sold, COGS. That's what I'm going to call it. Then we see use the sum x. Sum x from your sales table, right? Then what I want to do, I want to multiply the units sold by the related what? Related price. No, product cost, the cost price, not the price, the cost price. Close this twice, and you get your solution. Okay, same thing. I'm bringing this into the same table as well. Right, you can see this now. So the total sales is 6.9 million and the cost of sales is 5.1 million. So how then do we get the profit? If I do, let me quickly format this. Call out and display units should be the decimal place. It's 2 decimal places. Yes, this is fine. Now we are answering business question, right? Now to get the profit, we just need to say the what? The selling price minus the cost price. Right? Selling price minus the cost price. So I'm going to write a new measure for that as well, and just see what difference between my selling price and the cost price will give me the profit. So profit now equals to what? The sales, my sales, then minus COGS. So this should give giving me around 1.82, I think. But let me bring it into this. If you look at this, 6.9 and 5.1. Where's my measure? Here's the profits. Now let's see. Yes, 1.8. Next one, you can see we have 1.82 as the total profit. So easily now, we can now answer the first question that says what? We would like to see what? What does the first question say? It means what? The total sales and profit by month. So since it's a time intelligence, so I'm using what? Since it's periodic, so I'm using months. Where is my months? The sales and also the profits. It's going to do that for me. But there's a challenge here. My month is not arranged in the calendar way. So I have March, April, June. So I want it to be from January to December. So I'll go back into my calendar. On my calendar. And this month now, I will sort by the month number. So that's the reason why I have this. So it's going to use the month number to solve it. So it means one, if you are sorting in ascending order, is 1 to 12. That's January to December. And if it is in descending order, it is 12 back to 1. So instead of mixing it up, it's going to use the numbering in sorting it. So I'm sorting it by month number. Yes, let me go back into my reports. Okay, it is not done. I'll just remove the months and bring it back. Most times you have to drag. Some cases it does itself, and in others you have to be the one to. So now I have the sales. Yeah, the sales, and these are the profits across the month. So we've answered the first business question. Now the second one again is what? Yes, which product category drive the biggest profit, and is it the same across organization, across the location? So you can also what? Do that. Product category, let me just use this. The product category by under product category can be under the products. Then we have the category and by profit. Because we've written a DAX for profit already, so we can see by product category, art is generating the what? The highest profit, right? You can see art is generating the highest profit. And then say across different location, probably we change this one to a matrix table. Yes. Then the location. You can see where's my location to store data. Can be this. So across the location, then you cannot look at the numbers and see is it generating the highest. So this is actually generating the highest revenue. When looking at the different what location, you can now decide what you want to check. But easiest way to even check is I can go to the format. Let me do a conditional formatting on it. Go to the format, and on the format, we have the cell elements, the profits, right? Let me just give it a data bars for the background. So the length of the bars will tell you which is generated the highest and which is generating the lowest. So we can easily use the bar to know we across the different location is he also doing that. So already we can see that in airports it is not generating the highest because toy has the highest in airports, right? So that is actually not the case. It has answered the question, not across all locations. So I think for commercial is the highest, for downtown is the highest, and also for residential, but only airports. So we've answered that. Again, so the third question now is, we need to identify the top 5 best products. The top 5 best products. Yes. Let's look at the best products. So we want to look at products. Okay, let me bring in a new table. Yes. Let me reduce this. Bring this one. below it, so that we can see this very well. And let me reduce this particular table as well. Okay, products. In the products table, where's my products? Here's the products table, right? And we need what? The best selling products. Now, you can see that what? We have all products here. I can just sort this, the sales in ascending or in a descending order. But here, we are seeing all the products. We only need the best 5. We only need the best 5. So now, how do I use that to write the best 5 products? So first thing we need to note here is that what we need to be able to generate the best 5, right? That's the first thing using the sales. So I'm going to use the DAX query view to show us this before I start to implement it. Now, first thing we need the top 5, right? The top 5 products. So to get the top 5 products, so there's a function in in DAX. There's a DAX function that we can use, and that function is called what? The top n function. The top n. Can you see this? Top n returns a given number of top rows according to a specified expression. So it gives you the top rows, right? The end there is you have the ability to specify how many rows you want to see. And based on what do you want to decide the top? Is it based on the sales, based on the profit, the cost of goods, and so on like that? So I'm going to use the top n, right? And top n itself also, it returns a table. The table function, it returns a table. Now the end value is the first argument, right? So it means how many rows do you want to return? That's end value. So I need just top 5. 5, right? Now to return what? Table. So from which table are you looking at? So I'm looking at the what? The products table. Now let's see this. Products table. Now order by what? So looking at the products table, right? Looking at the product table, I want to what? In fact, it's not only the product that I'm looking at. I want to just look at the name, the product name itself. But let me try this first. Let's see how this works. Yes, it's saying what? What do I want to use? The order by. So what do I want to use to order this thing? So I say I want top. So what am I using to order it? So I want to order it by sales, right? Ordering by sales and order by what? Do I want to order it in the order of ordering it? And as I want to order it in descending order. It's in the descending order, enter. Then I can run this. Let me see what it will give me. So it is picking the whole of the sales, the whole of the what? The product table. Now it is now giving me the product with the highest sales. You can see this returns a table, but your measure will only return the scalar value, right? So, and in this case, I don't even want all the table. I don't want the table. I only want just the name of the product name. Where's the product? The product name. This is it. So here, instead of using the whole of the product table, I'm going to use another function again, another table function. Values. Values is a table function that will give me, that will return the table. So product name. So this is going to release all the products from me. I'm going to return only the products now. So by sales, these are the 5 best products, right? So how do I put this in my report? So we've seen how this will return the table, right? But then how do I use this in my report? So if I go back to my report, I need to write a new measure. To write a new measure because if I bring this into this table, it's going to show error. Let me even, yes, I will bring it in first. Let's see. New measure. New measure. Sure. Did I copy it? No, I didn't. Um, Let me quickly come and copy it so you see what we have. Lots of time. So let me just come and copy this. New measure. So we see very well. Here is it. So let me call this one top 5 products equals to this particular calculation that we did. Enter. Okay. So if I bring this here, now where is it? Top 5, bring it into this table. Now it's going to throw error. So I need to modify this. Sorry. So what I'm going to do is, now I'm still going to use this, but then let me delete it first. So what I want to do here is I would like to calculate my sales. Use the calculate function. It allows for a lot of flexibility, right? So what do I want to calculate? I want to calculate sales, right? I want to calculate sales. Now I can now filter it. Now, so from the table now, so I'm going to say the top 5 using the top n function. I want the top 5, right? So here I'm going to say, so to make it even easier, I'll call on the all for what? So create a table, a virtual table for the products table, right? And what do you want to order? You want to order it by my sales, like we said earlier on. Now in descending order, yes. So in descending order, now give me the top 5. Right? But if I close this again, it's going to what? It's going to give me same error. So I need to what? Because as I've said, across it, just give me what? So I should be able to what? Use the product name itself. So I'll say using the value functions now, values for the product name. The product name. Now using the product name is what I want to do. So I've said remove filter from all the product table. Then I want the product name to filter it. Right and enter. So if I now bring this now, so I just said calculate the sales, I wrap everything that I calculate, then give me the top 5 by sales and what using the product name. Okay, top 5, bring it into this table. Now you can see we have the best 5, and we can see it only calculates for only the 5. So others, it didn't calculate for them because they do not fall in the top 5, do not belong to the top 5, right? So now this does it for us. The same thing if you are doing it with profit, so you can use one instead of sales, use profit. So that's how you answer the second, is that the second or the third? So let me even remove this sales. I can remove sales. Now I have the top 5 sales using the top n function. And over time, I can decide to, okay, I would like to know, are you bringing the slicer for month? It's over time. Let me see. In January, what are the top 5? In February, what are the top 5? So bring in my months and check the different months. To use the drop-down list. So for the different months now, in January, what are the top 5? To only go to January and calculate the top 5 for me. You can see this has changed. In February, what are the top 5? March, the top 5 in March, the best selling product in March, the May until the end of the year. So this is how you answer the third. This is the third question. That's not the third question. Okay, the third question, right? Now the next one also is how much money is tied in the inventory. So for all the product that we have in the inventory, what is the value? Yes, what is the value of the products that we have in the inventory? So if you come to the inventory now, inventory, Oh, I created a column for calendar. Yeah, this was when I made the mistake. Let me delete this. Delete. Yes. So at the inventory, I can see the store that owns the product and what product is in that store, and the store at how many of it do they still have. So we can see there are various of it. Now, the question is now, how much money is tied in the inventory? So which means this 10 product that we have in the industry, what is the what? What is the price? How much is it? For the different product that we have there, what is the price? So it's just like what we did earlier on. So we can write a measure for that will help us to calculate. These are the quantities that we have in inventory by their price. By their price. So depends on what you want to do. You want to see the cost of the goods itself or the total selling price. So for me, I will use the selling price actually. So let me go and write a new measure. And as you've guessed, yes, we are going to use the iterative measure because we want to do it row by row. New measure. So we say, let me call this one stock value. Call it stock value. And say come into this stock table and calculate row by row the amount, the price of what we have in stock. So I'm going to use the sum x, row by row, calculate the amount, then eventually add everything together. So the table name is the inventory. And in the inventory table, what we want to do, the stock at hand, then we need to multiply it by what? The price of the product. Yes, using the words, the related function. Yes, because it's not here. So price, product price. Yes, close the bracket twice. Then you have the stock value. Then you have the value of the stock. So in my card again, let me bring the stock value. Where's my stock value? Okay, here's my stock value. So one thing I also like to do is, because my card is green, let me go and reduce the size. So from 45 down to 30, the font size, so that we can see everything very well. Okay, stock price. So display units is good. Display units is what? Is 2 decimal place for all of them. Okay. So we have this as 410,000. Let me check. Okay. This in itself, the stock value. Change it from here, stock value, and it should be what? 2 decimal places. So I'm changing my decimal places at the top here to 2. Yeah. So that one also becomes automatically a 2 decimal place. It's okay. It's still big. All right. So my card. Okay. Now we have the stock value, right? Then another question that we need to answer because of time is what? The percentage of the total sales by city. The percentage of the total sales by city. Here, so let me just copy this. I'll replicate this value. We want to see the sales by city. So city is in store. This is the city and the sales, right? But then we want to know what percentage of our sales is coming from each city. What percentage of our sales is coming from each city? So it simply means that what I should be able to divide what the revenue, the sales generated across the different cities. Here is 99,000, here is 250,000, divided by the total revenue. The total revenue that we generate. And what is your total revenue? 6.9 million. And let's even see it here. This is total sales. It's 6.9 million. So the same. So if you say 99,000 divided by total, say the total revenue divided by 6.9 million, it will give you what percentage of the sales is coming from here. So normally it would have been easy if we have about two or three different categories. We can quickly use what our pie chart to get the total, to get it. So let's say we are doing it by what? By location. Let me say store location. Instead of writing that, we can actually say is this and sales. Okay, here is my sales. Right, you can see. So by default, what the our pie chart will help us to calculate the percentage, right? Because so here it is easier. But in this case, we have a lot of cities. It is going to be very wrong for us to bring all the cities into. Let's even see how it will look like by location there. So let me bring the city, because we want the percentage. Now we can't even see which is which because we have a lot of cities. So these are not what do what we want, right? Now, so now let's see how we can now what use this to calculate. So we have already understand what we want to do by what we want to divide our current sales by the total sales. So each city sales by the total sales. That's what we want to do, right? So we go to our measure. Can go to measure and we'll write a measure that will help us do that calculation. A measure that will help us do that calculation. Now, first thing is what? Saying we want to see, okay, percentage, okay, where am I? Okay, we want to see the percentage sales by city. That's what we are looking at, right? So here we need to be able to what get the sales. The truth is here is you see the same sales that we've used on this card visual that we use in this what in this table. But the issue there is what it is being filtered. So it is being filtered by anything you bring here is going to filter the sales. If I bring in another category again, it's going to further filter it. So what we need to do is what instead of we still need to bring in sales here, but then it should not be filtered. You can see at the end of the day, we still get the total amount. We are looking at how we arrive at this amount by city. We need something that will give us the total amount without filtering. So the total amount. So let me say, so we'll get the total amount. We'll write what? A DAX measure for it. Now, by using what? The calculate function. Now, let's see. So calculate is very important. So it helps to what? Can do a lot of filter there. So we want to calculate sales is still what we're calculating. But then we want to what? Remove filter from all the we want to remove filter from this particular what do we call it now? The particular store table. So without using the stuff to filter it, what will be the total amount? So I can use the remove filter. It's a function called remove filter. And what does it do? It helps us to clear filters from the specified table or columns. So it's any other table can filter these sales, but if you are using anything from the what? From the store table, it should not filter it. So I'm going to say store what? City. Let me use city to filter it. Then enter. Let's see what this will even give to us. Now, let me bring this percentage by city. Interesting. So you can see now. So we now have, so regardless of the city that we have, we have said anytime you are using this particular measure by city, it should just return what? It should ignore all the filter context that we have here. So that's what it is doing. So you can see it is returning the total revenue, the total sales that we have generated. Right now, the next thing now is what for us to see this sales divided by the total that we have here. So I go into the measure and modify it. Now, so I'm going to make it easier, I'm going to use variable. So to hold what we have here. So for this total sales, now I'm writing a variable for it, and I'm calling the variable should I call it TT sales, total sales. So I'm keeping this now in a variable. So there's a variable called total sales. I've declared a variable. So what this means is I don't need to be rewriting all these whole calculation. Anytime I need the output of this, I can just call on the total, this particular variable, which is the total sales. Now, declaring the variable, then I say what? Return. What I want you to return for me is that what? Do a division. Divide. What should be our numerator? Our numerator should be the sales. Divide your sales by the denominator, right? Denominator is TT, no, sorry, TT. TT. So that's the total sale, which is the variable I just declared, right? And the third one is what? It's optional argument, actually. It's asking for alternative, that is, if there's any error, give me. So if there's any division by error, just return 0. Then close the bracket and enter. So let's see what this will now become. Yes, you can see. So, but then I want it to be in percentage. So because I've said percentage, so I just go and change it to percentage. Change to percentage. Then we'll see the percentage of the total sales that is coming in from the different cities. Now, 99,000 represents what? 1.42% of the total sales. 251 is what? 3% of the total sales. And what? Eventually, we have what everything amounts to 100%. 100%. So this is how we can use DAX to answer what? To answer questions. Critical business questions. So the last critical business question. So we've answered the fifth one. So let me just do the last one. Inventory value by store. So we've already calculated the inventory value. So we just need to use by what? By store. Inventory value, then store. Let me use this. If I say to location again, which is store. So let me use it. Oh, sorry. Can you hear me now? Hello, can you hear me now? So I think my network tripped off. So we want to answer the last question. So before we go, which is the inventory value by stores. So I pick the stores and I need the inventory value. Inventory, okay, I call it stock value, actually. Stock value. Now we can see what from the different stores now, we can see how much what the values. Let me bring my data label. So you see this. So, and instead of this, I need, let me just use a table for this as well. Yeah. So for the different location now, we see the values in their store, what their inventory, what the worth of their inventory. So downtown has what? Their inventory is worth 232,000. Commercial is worth 98,000. Residential is 52,000. Airport has the lowest stock. So we can looking at this, can decide, okay, which one do we want? Where do we need to upgrade? And like so, this is how you can use DAX to answer critical questions regarding your data and your business. I'll be stopping here because of time. I think I have exceeded my time by 3 minutes. Yes. Thank you very much. So I'll take your question. Yes, any question? Right. Thank you very much. Hi, Suraj.
Hi, I think we wait for a question for 2 minutes?
Yeah, yeah. Absolutely. Yes, that should be fine.
Is there any question? Please feel free to ask. Somebody's asking their or raising their hands. It is better drop your questions directly to the chat box, or if you want to have mic access, please will let me know that as well in the chat box. I can give you the mic access.
Mm.
I guess there is no more questions. Uh, in that case, we can wind up session, right, Sadiq?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Thank you, very.
Cool. Yeah, if there is any question, you can join the community and ask the question there, or you can directly go to Sadiq and Sadiq, do you want to share your LinkedIn so that somebody, if you're
Yeah. So
okay
if you
with
have
it,
any question, yes. So if you have any question, you can actually reach out to me on LinkedIn personally. So I'll give you. So I can always respond to you. I'll drop the link now. Mm.
great. Uh, okay. Thank you everyone to spend your 1 hour on a Saturday with us. I hope you gained or learned something new or something improvement that has happened. Maybe try it out yourself on Power BI so that you understand it really well. And thanks to Swadek to take his time and make you all understand the topic. And please do give him a support on LinkedIn so that he can keep on sharing his knowledge with others. So yeah, that's it
Thank you very much
for
for
the
having me. Thank you, everybody, for
yeah.
joining.
Yeah, thank you for joining, Sadik, and thank you everyone for joining as well. And yeah, that's it for the day. And we'll be dropping the recording in our YouTube channel where you can watch it again if you want to watch it. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Sadik.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Bye for now.